Om Shalina, you know, the glimmer of hope which one got after Veena George met with JP Nadda and said, went to the ASHA workers and had a chat with them, now it's getting dimmer and dimmer. Because look at it, the ball is now in the centre's court with Pinarayi saying, I will give it to you when my state is in a better fiscal situation. Then he says, anyway, I pay you maximum. So why are you asking me? Why are you not asking the center? Then he says, well, we will form a committee like Veena George was telling you. You know, it will be, a report will be submitted. Om Shalina, what is going on? What is the intent?
As you rightly pointed out, the statement of Pinarayi Vijayan today is self-contradictory because the ASHA workers in Kerala had started their strike with certain specific demands. And their demand is to increase the honorarium, not the incentives. And the Pinarayi Vijayan's statement today is that this honorarium will be increased once the state fiscal condition improved. There was no consideration for the ASHA workers when they were ready to make a fiscal budget for buying Innova cars for the ministers, for making payments to the government traders since 2022. So it is only in the case of ASHA workers that the fiscal condition of the state is not improved. So what I'm saying is the attempt of the chief minister is to shift the burden to the federal government, which will not stand because what they are demanding is not an increase in the incentives because they are those people who have received many hikes in incentives in the past many years in their incentives in the scheme. But now what they are demanding is an increase in honorarium. And Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan is going to the neighboring states to hold hands with the chief ministers there for many issues against the federal government. But in this case, why is he not looking at the other state governments like Tamil Nadu or Karnataka and see what is the honorarium those states are giving? They are giving much higher honorarium to the ASHA workers.
Right. Absolutely. So, yeah, I understand. And like I said, it's contradictory. And Shalina, you pretty much said that. Rahul Ishwar, let me get you into this conversation. Rahul Ishwar, the worst was when they cut their hair and tonsured their hair, some of them. I mean, that's the worst thing that a woman or even a man can do, because in our culture it also portends for something evil, some very bad news, as it were. Please tell me, what is Pinarayi Vijayan's intent? You can't speak in a forked tongue, as it were. Like Om Shalina just now said, you cannot hold hands with others and talk about federalism, rights of the people and power to the people and people's government and be such a hypocritical person here. And Rahul Ishwar, these are the backbone of the rural healthcare in Kerala. These are the people who during the pandemic went from one village to the other serving the people. These are the women who go inoculate babies in villages and help in delivering babies. It is not as if you are spending crores and crores on them, Rahul Ishwar.
Absolutely. Gee, I know it's very, Om Shalina has really spoken well and encapsulated the entire thing. It is very sad from the part of a communist government who claims to be left of center and socialist for doing such a thing. And ASHA workers' demands are very right. And the more important thing is CPM or the communist ministry has not shown any genuine empathy in dealing with the entire thing. They have been flip-flopping many times. They are saying it is BJP sponsored. Many leaders of the CPM have even gone to that extent, ascribing political motives for all these people who have been struggling for such a long time. Their demands are very genuine. It is responsible for a minister and chief minister to find a consensus and solve it. And rather than solving it and rather than understanding their pain, CPM, the party machinery, the government has continuously been defaming, denigrating, insulting the months-long protest of ASHA workers. It is extremely unfortunate. It's extremely having what they call a very cruel mindset that the Kerala government is dealing with. That dealing of mindset is very important. The Kerala state should take initiative, talk to the center, find some kind of a consensus, release more funds. We were all very hopeful when Meendaji went to meet Sri JP Nadda, but nothing turned out. And so many flip-flops also happened. So it is very unfortunate that government is dealing in such a way, ascribing political motives. I hope somebody senior in government shows that compassion and empathy and try to understand and sort out this. It is very unfortunate and unbecoming the part of a so-called socialist government
Exactly.
who claim themselves to ruling the people.
Absolutely, Rahul Ishwar. And Om Shalina, I'm going to later ask Rahul also this. You know what Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan would blame others for doing, he is doing it himself today, Om Shalina. He says 90% of the ASHA workers are not striking. This is only some of them. He's trying to break a protest movement, which is the kernel of a center of left government, Om Shalina. I mean, what kind of a game is that? Because they are also accusing that there is a rival union which is also kind of penetrated into this, and therefore Pinarayi Vijayan is very angry about it. Om Shalina.
Shameful. That statement is very shameful because even the ASHA workers who are on strike, they are ensuring that in their absence, the work is properly being done in their community. So the commitment of those ASHA workers are put to question by the Chief Minister, and it is highly condemnable. They are carrying out their daily duties. Even while on strike, they are ensuring that someone else is doing that, and the health issues of the state is being met. So that is the kind of commitment the ASHA workers in the state have shown. And as rightly pointed out by Mr. Rahul, even during the pandemic period, they have worked immensely well to ensure that all are safe. So to those demands of the ASHA workers, I think a much more respectful approach from the state government should be there.
To ask you, the whole thing is, go on.
The program implementation plans, whether it is necessary that the program implementation plans with overall resource envelope is placed before the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare to ensure that the state demands are put before the government. That is also not being done by the state government. As far as if we see other states, they are making the program implementation plans in time and making their demands on time, and so that it is included in the budget. Whether the state government is doing no, that is not being done. And the benefits that are being done, they are not giving the completion certificate. So such kind of approach from the state government is not acceptable, and a federal government cannot function like this.
Right. Rahul Ishwar, I want to ask you about this question which I first asked Om Shalina, that the ability, the attempt, the alleged attempt to break this strike, don't you think this will cost Pinarayi Vijayan? The elections is in 2026. Some may feel, what is this, ASHA workers? It's a blip. But let's not forget that sometimes small movements become very big and cost a politician his seat.
Absolutely. And without bringing any political or taking any political bias to see, the issue with a left of center government is we always hope they will deal with especially normal peoples, rural people, lower middle class and middle class in a very sensitive way. The real issue is, yes, I know state government is having trouble with treasury. So many things can be said. But having said that, the entire approach, as we call, the entire approach to ASHA workers has been very disrespectful. I sincerely believe, it would have been resolved in a much better way, or at least ASHA workers would have felt respected if they had treated them with respect. They were called conspirators. They were called all the bad words. They were people called with ulterior motives. See, these are poor women from lower middle class background and middle class background who are working, like Shalina ji said, in a very heartful and soulful way, and they have been denigrated on the street. And I believe this is one of the longest going protests from the part of females in Kerala for a very long time, and we have seen them doing this kind of very sad aspects of protest, and nobody from CPM is even empathizing. And one more sad thing is the entire Kerala is a much more of a leftist state. The entire leftist intellectual, socio-cultural leaders, even they are afraid to even say something positive about them because for the afraid of the ire of the CPM government. So CPM should not have done this with such high-handedness. It reeks of authoritarianism. It reeks of a kind of Stalinism. And if you are not with us, you are the capitalist stooge kind of an attitude that the Stalinists have. So it will really create a crater in the mind of those people who are center-left, who appreciates the government, who understands that this is not the way they should have handled the protest. This reeks of authoritarianism, a kind of chauvinism, if you can use that word, against very poor people fighting for their rights. They could have easily said some people are demanding 18,000 from 7,000 to 18,000, or the hike. It could have the details and nuances can be debated out. But the whole approach has gone wrong, and it will backfire on CPM government 2026 in a big way, and it should backfire on an ethical sense.